This is now part 8, I think, of the Curious Case of Cody Rhodes, where Cody did an interview recently where he kind of made a bit of an ass of himself, in my opinion. Apparently, somebody asked him why he decided to come back to WWE, and he responded with, well, I'll give you somewhat of an arrogant answer. For 2-3 years, nobody's been able to touch me in the ring. Yeah, okay, bud. So, Chad, I'll go to you first. I mean, I don't know if this was in character. I don't know if it's not in character. Either way, this is a fairly arrogant thing to say. Now, he said on the front end it was going to be arrogant, but considering even the company he was in, the wrestlers there and the matches they were putting on for the last 2 years, and his, bit of a sputter to the end of his AEW contract, I don't know what the fucking hell Cody is talking about.
On top of it being arrogant, Codeus, it is also untrue. Let's be honest. Again, I said it off camera. You weren't even the best in your division at the moment. Sorry. This was really, really, Danny said it earlier, and I want him to harp on more of what he was talking about. This was really just a macho WWE snide remark to shade AEW. And I think he was very in character, and I also think it was very unnecessary almost. I mean, you're in the same company as Kenny Omega, and no one can go with you in the last 2 years. If you would have said the first 2 years, then maybe you could have gotten an applause, or maybe somebody could have said, he's cocky enough to say that he helped start the company, blah, blah, blah. But the last 2 years where we made this segment, The Curious Case of Cody Rhodes, based on your storylines, it doesn't add up, bruh. I'm not feeling it. I didn't like that. I kind of don't think you should be in WWE right now either, but I'll leave that for another conversation.
Yeah, it is weird, right? Like, I agree with you. I think he had some of the best matches in the first couple of years at AEW. I don't think anybody could dispute that. A lot of them were really emotional. There's really good storytelling. The wrestling with Cody has always been, solid at minimum, and he really stepped it up for a lot of those. So I was really enjoying what he was doing there. And then whatever happened with him in his storyline, especially after he lost the ability to go for the AEW World Championship, and then everything after that with the MJF stuff, he kind of just got stuck. And his TNT title reign was good, but then, after that, especially after I think the Brody Lee match, like everything just kind of fell off a cliff. And the match work was still fine. It was still good, but just all the storylines and everything were just not there. Now, since I think he's gotten to WWE, he's gone back up, I think, towards the level where he was at the start of AEW. His feud with Seth was great. And obviously I think that was, the exclamation point on that was him doing Hell in the Cell with the torn bicep, which was just visually stunning. And the fact that he was able to do all that with that injury. But the top wrestler the last 2 to 3 years, bro, like that is just objectively wrong.
And also,
I'm at a loss for words. It's so wrong. I don't know what else to say.
Not to cut you off, one more thing, Jackie. For you to say that in the position that he's in now is not only a very heel tactic, what does it do for you in WWE? Like, what? That might have been a force-fed line, because what does that do for Cody where he is now in WWE, who's supposed to be the face and the next big champion? And like, what does that do?
I mean, yeah, only because he's hurt. I think if he said that while he was healthy, maybe, yeah, okay. In storyline, it helps him, because then he could be, and because then Roman could be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they feud. But while he's hurt now, not doing anything, it's weird timing. It's weird to say. I also think it's a dick move, just because you're kind of throwing all of your supposed friends from AEW under the bus.
Is it to remain relevant during his injury?
Possibly.
I'm sorry. I want to get to Danny.
I mean, it's possible, but I know he did have a falling out with, some of those elite guys, and for whatever reasons, and that's not any of our business, but still a dick move, man. You helped found that company on the backs of some of the best wrestlers on the planet, most of whom were better than you and still are. And now you're throwing them all under the bus, which it's just a dick move. So like Chad said, Danny, considering your last two performances in so far this episode, I am very curious to hear what you have to say about one Cody Rhodes.
What Kenny Omega match was more memorable than some of the matches Cody's put on in the past 2-3 years?
I did not want this to go here. Continue though.
Name one. No, wait. Name one.
You're serious? Versus Hangman.
Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson.
Kenny Omega versus
was better than any Cody Rhodes
match I've seen. Versus the first Moxley match when he won the title.
No, it doesn't compare to Cody Dustin. It doesn't compare to fucking Cody Darby 1, 2, or 3. The
Kenny
Omega
versus Christian.
Kenny versus Christian. I mean, you if it was this version of Christian,
for the Impact title,
because that's what this what Cody said was sounds like something Christian would say right now, but. Because it's not about in-ring work, okay? Cody has the emotional storytelling. You know what? Kenny versus Hangman, the second, was not as good as Cody versus Seth at WrestleMania. Cody arguably had the best match of a WrestleMania weekend. It's arguably because it's either first or second best, depending on whether you're someone like Eric who hates women or not. But, to be fair, Eric actually agreed with me that match rocked. But, Cody's doing it. What is Kenny doing? He's at home hurt. What a baby. Oh, my God. I have vertigo. I can't put on the 5-star matches anymore. Oh, my God. Where are we at? Who's better at everything in terms of being a technical wrestler and storytelling? And Cody Rhodes.
Seth Rollins.
In the past 30 years. It's storytelling? No. In ring, yeah, sure.
I will say this. Kenny Omega kind of backed you up the other day because he said that he thinks we should reassess how we rate matches, because 5-star matches should have a little more storytelling than just the big spots and the big moves that have been getting, 5-star ratings recently. So he's kind of backing you up a little bit, but I think there's got to be a little bit of a combination of the two, obviously. I just think
Cody is that combination.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem with Cody, at least for me in the last 2 years, has not been the in-ring stuff. It's been the storylines and the promos leading up to them. And I still consider that being a wrestling.
In his defense, though,
I did forget he solved racism. I apologize.
In his defense, in hindsight, now looking, he knew he was leaving. So all of the confusion around the end of his run is cleared now.
Especially because he would fucking tell anybody. Like, he claims he was undecided until the last moment. And I guess we kind of have to believe him. But
do we?
Either whether or not you believe him, he still didn't tell anybody in AEW whether or not he was going. And they were trying to book around all the uncertainty that was Cody Rhodes.
Well, he's made it clear that he doesn't like them, so why would he tell them? why would he tell them anything? He does not like anyone that he started that company with.
So, joking aside, but not really, in terms of that, I'm not going to stop joking more so than that I was joking, but
I genuinely have no idea if you were serious there or not, like everything you just said.
I would like for my opinions to not be known, so that's good. But
As you do a podcast.
yeah,
I hate this guy.
I get that a lot. But that being said, you guys are just being worked. Okay, this is all. Cody's just trying to get good heat, so when he comes back to AEW in 3 years, he gets that really good heat. You know, if you really wanted to be mad about what he said and pick it apart, you could just say that his logic falls apart. That he left AEW because he was untouched in the ring for the past 2 to 3 years. Because if that was the case, how is that going to change in WWE? You already faced the best guy they have, I think, left. I don't think anyone in WWE is better in ring than Seth Rollins. In all seriousness, like, who's better than Seth Rollins in WWE?
One could debate AJ Styles.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. The two guys. I think that.
I got
don't think
nothing
anyone-
after that.
I mean,
I don't even think Finn is as close to them. Honestly, I think Finn is like, if they're S tier, Finn is like top of A tier. Like, you know, like he's right there, but he's not like, I would never say he's better than AJ or better than Seth, where you can debate AJ and Seth.
yeah, I would agree with that. I think he's right below them. I also, just strictly in the ring, I think Mustafa Ali's really, really, really fucking good as well.
That's true, but like,
But
how do we
everything,
get
yeah,
that,
the rest
you
of
know?
it, you know. But in terms like, if you just throw him in a match with Cody and tell me to watch that, I would watch the fuck out
Oh,
of that.
absolutely. Yeah, a real American patriot versus fucking Homelander. Yeah, I'd watch that.
Homelander.
Kidding me? I mean, that's like that's where his statement doesn't make sense, because he's leaving, like, you know. And even if you don't think Kenny Omega is the best wrestler, which is fine, because I think Bryan Danielson's better than him. But you know who's in AEW? Bryan Danielson. You know, hey, now Claudio Castagnoli is there. You didn't know that at the time, though, so I won't give you that. But, you know, CM Punk's there. And, yeah, CM Punk's not the best technical wrestler in the world, but you know who gets people to give a shit about his matches constantly all the time? It's CM Punk. You know, like, you have hell, the Young Bucks are two of the best wrestlers in the world. Like, Nick has insane singles matches.
FTR
You know?
Bald's been having insane single matches too. Like,
FTR Bald, nice. But
shout out Danhausen.
Dax has been, bro, fucking, you guys should have brought up Dax when I was joking earlier about who could touch Cody. I'd be like, you know what? You got me.
I mean, along with the Adam Coles and the Swerves and the Keith Lees, there's so much more talented guys around now that he left.
Yeah, and it's like, I get it, you know. At the end of the day, with Cody, it's always going to be, he has that vendetta. He has that chip on his shoulder. He has that fire inside where, you know, he is still blinded by the glitz and the glam and the lights and everything in WWE. And
The
whereas
smoke
everyone
and mirrors. Huh?
I don't get it. I don't understand. Please explain it.
No, what he's blinded by is that WWE championship that he's never held, and that his father never held. That's what he's blinded by.
Yeah. Well, he'll probably just end up the Universal Champion. So, like, it doesn't really fill the hole. But that's.
I have such a scumbag scenario that I want to happen. I'll explain after. Continue.
No, sure, go for it. What is it?
I'm such a dick. I very desperately would like for Cody to come back and win said champion and get cashed in on immediately after by Austin Theory.
Oh, the
I
Rey
think
Mysterio proposition.
I think that's very, very likely. I think
I would love for that to happen immediately.
Theory is not going to beat Roman. He's not going to beat Brock. Cody might. Whoever beats Roman, Theory has to cash in on. Like, he
I
doesn't
feel like they're pushing Theory versus Lesnar after the Elimination Chamber. So I kind of see
where he ran away from him, like crying, and
yeah.
then
I think they're like doing
I don't
Theory
even
revenge kind of
he could
thing,
hit
and
his finisher on Lesnar.
he wouldn't have to if he just finished fighting the
Roman.
almighty Roman Reigns.
Why would Lesnar?
It's a last man standing match.
Lesnar's not going to win. Lesnar's a jobber now. He's not a guy to win. He's not a winner anymore. He's a loser. He's going to lose.
but he'll absolutely be a title holder if need be.
They don't need be anymore because the Roman has the title and is never going to lose it apparently. Like Cody has a better chance of winning the title right now than Brock. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that. Well,
Well, I totally agree. I was
once
just
Cody's
saying,
healthy.
which I
Even
hope is in
we
like 2 months.
expected him to walk out of Money in the Bank, torn pec and all, and still try to climb the ladder. You know, maybe it would have been a better ending than Theory winning, but you know, that's a whole nother thing that we talked about on our Money in the Bank review that's totally exists and is real and happened.
I also just want to say, I feel like we've been shitting on Cody a lot here. And it's more, at least for me, it's more of the comment of no one's been able to touch me in the ring. Where I think Cody, and I hope I've said this, Cody has been good. You know, he's been, good to great ever since, I feel like ever since he's joined New Japan and joined Bullet Club. Like, he was on a tear on the indies. His early AEW stuff was great. And then, yeah, he hit a really weird lull because of the contract stuff and just the TNT title going back and forth and that stupid stipulation. He couldn't win the AEW championship. Like, it was just a bunch of weird booking decisions from him that ended up, screwing him up, in terms of building stories and feuds and everything. Again, the in-ring stuff was still pretty good. That Sammy Guevara match, the ladder match for the TNT championship, was really good. He got lit on fire during that Andrade match. That was awesome. And then, like I said earlier, everything he's done, at least on pay-per-view with Seth, since he's come back to WWE, was good. It's just, I think him saying he's been the best wrestler of the last 3 years is asinine. There's far too many people on that list ahead of him.